Cecily, what are some of your earliest memories of music?
Some of my first memories are listening to a lot of music with my parents, especially some of the music they grew up with, like 70s music. My dad, in particular, is a huge John Denver fan. You've never met any other big fan of John Denver than my dad. So we listened to a lot of John Denver and quite a few songs from Earth, Wind, and Fire, because that was another favorite of my parents. And yeah, and then whatever we didn't listen to with that, I also listened to a lot of Disney music because I'm old enough that I remember going to see The Little Mermaid when it first came out. So I listened to a lot of Disney music. I used to play that on my Fisher Price tape recorder, and I loved it.
Was there a particular moment that you decided you wanted to pursue music?
I've always had music in me, especially with my parents, because my parents really encouraged my brother and I to get into music or at least do some sort of extracurricular activity. And they kind of pushed us into music, but I didn't really need much pushing because I was the annoying kid in class that hummed and sang all the time. So I knew I was going to do something with music because it's always been a big part of my life.
Can you tell us a little bit about your writing that you do also?
Mainly historical fiction and also young adult. The historical fiction stuff that I write at the moment is a series that is set in Washwitz, Virginia, which is a ghost town in what is in an area that's close to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And that takes place around the turn of the 20th century. And so it's this, it, but then it goes forward into the 70s where it's this woman talking about her life in the early 1900s. She's talking to her grandchildren about life in this ghost town because I'm fascinated with ghost towns and weird abandoned places. And the young adult novels that I write are about just girls and who are trying to find themselves. I don't do romances. There is not an emphasis on romance. It's more about them finding themselves and what they're interested in and just some of the interesting things that they get into. I'm working right now on a young adult series called The Traveling Society, for which I have the first book available on Amazon. And it's about a group of girls who get to travel to Paris. And so throughout the series, they get to travel to different places and they're all trying to find themselves. And it's really cool. It's been a lot of fun writing this. And in fact, I just started writing the second book this week. So yay!
Has the experience writing your books helped with your songwriting?
In particular, using verbs instead of just doing he said slowly, she said loudly, like using an actual verb for, oh, she hollered, or he whispered instead of he spoke softly. So I feel like that's influenced my songwriting a little bit. I've become even more descriptive. I mean, I always was. I've always been felt more like songs are sometimes poems put to music, and that's the way I write is very poetic. But I feel like my writing has definitely helped me with songwriting in that regard.
Are you currently working on any projects?
Two things. I'm putting together the mixes for an 80s cover EP that I want to put out in sometime this summer. And it's going to be actually 5 songs, 6 songs if you get the cassette version. How much more 80s can you get in cassette? Of some of my favorite more obscure 80s songs. So there isn't going to be like Total Eclipse of the Heart or anything like that. It's going to be more obscure artists that a lot of people might not have heard of. Some you might have, like Kate Bush, or Ice House, or Fiction Factory. They were a one-hit wonder in the UK and Europe. But most of the others, a lot of people haven't heard of. But I think that the songs are they're such a part of me that I want to be able to share it with people and say, hey, look, there's some really cool other 80s stuff that people might not have heard. So I want to do that. And then the second thing I'm working on is a full length of originals, which is going to be really cool. I'm definitely going in a bit of an experimental vibe with this one. Not quite Kate Bush the Dreaming, but I'm kind of exploring more with my voice. So there's going to be interesting textures. So I'm working on that at the same time. So when I'm sick of writing, I just come up here and I do my music. So yay.
You do a lot of online performing. How has that experience been for you?
Definitely helped me connect with a lot of people who might not otherwise get to hear me. I mean, I don't get to play out really because in my area, the kind of music I do, electronic music, is not really a thing. It's either metal music or it's rap. There's not a lot of in between, and I don't do any of those. So I like to use the online performances to try and reach more people, because I really think that you can reach more people by performing online.
With your music and your writing, what are your goals moving forward?
With the music, it's something that I really enjoy doing, and that I really enjoy doing, and I have this musical side of me that I have to share with people because I'm a very emotional person, and so I like to be able to share that with people, and also to show people that, with some of the themes I deal with in my music, like finding yourself. Gee, that's kind of a familiar thing with my young adult novels, finding yourself. And I want people to know that you're not the only one who's felt this way. I've been there, I've done that, I've bought the t-shirt, and yes, it kind of sucks, but you're going to come out well the other end. So that's basically my goal with music. It's just to try and touch people and to give them something interesting to listen to, and just to show them another side of me.
When you're not working on music or your books, what's something you enjoy that your fans might not know about?
Well, some people, I don't know if a lot of people know that I really like to crochet. In fact, I made this a little while ago. These are a bunch of flowers, and so I've kind of decided this is kind of my thing. Like when I'm performing, I have little flowers in my hair and everything because I like to crochet. Yeah, I love crocheting and doing things with my hands. I can't sit idly in front of the TV and I can't do that. I have to be doing something with my hands. So that's one thing I really like to do. So I like to crochet.
Cecily, if you could perform with any other musician, past or present, who would you want to share the stage with?
Gosh, there are so many. My favorites tend to be kind of quirky female artists like Tori Amos, Kate Bush. I also really like Charlotte Martin. Most people haven't heard of her, but she's awesome. I really like. Some people think she's a Tori ripoff, which I think is completely wrong. I also like Mylène Farmer, who's kind of like the French Madonna, and I really like Florence and the Machine. If I could perform with any one of them, I mean, I would love to perform with all of them, frankly, but above all, I would absolutely kill to be on the same stage as Kate Bush, because she is my number one influence. Like, there's the way that she's unafraid of using her voice in interesting ways, and I just really admire her for that, because it must have taken so much for her to just forge her own path. And sure, people kind of derided her for it, but I mean, she's extremely well respected, and I just completely admire her. So if I had to pick anybody, long answer, Kate Bush.
And where's the best place for people to keep up with your music and books?
CecileeLinke.com. I also have stuff on there that I know for my students that I teach, because I also teach French. When I do a lot of things, I teach French, I write and I sing, I do lots of different things. But CecileeLinke.com is where you can find out a lot of information about my books and my music, and you can also find links to buy my books. I have them available for as a Kindle and also as a hard copy, so that's pretty awesome. And also, if you happen to be in the area, when I mean area, I mean southeastern Virginia, that's where I am based. I am going to be at the Tidewater Comic Con in about 2 weeks, actually less than 2 weeks, and I'm going to be there selling my books. So if you happen to be in the area and you happen to see this, hey, come by and say hi. Let me know that you saw me online and all that, and be like, hey, guess what? Free books, you saw me, or something like that. I don't know.